What is going on, everybody? It's the Franz, and we have a little unscripted extra here. We are going to be going over 3 matches from the Dominion pay-per-view that just happened yesterday for New Japan Pro Wrestling. We're going to talk about Jericho versus Naito and the surprising, shocking conclusion to that match. We're also going to go over the 2 out of 3 Falls match between Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada, and the classic those two put on, which will probably be a 6.5 star match coming out of Dominion. And of course, Will Ospreay versus Hiromu Takahashi, which I wanted to look at because I am a big Will Ospreay fan. I've seen Takahashi. I've seen both of these two wrestle before, and I just wanted to see what these guys could put on. We are going to start off, of course, with the Takahasi and Will Ospreay match. I did watch these out of order. I saw Jericho versus Naito first, and Ospreay versus Takahashi, and then of course the hour and 15-minute or so match between Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega. That match we'll get to in a minute. Takahashi versus Will Ospreay. These two put on a great match. Will Ospreay is still suffering from that neck injury from the Spanish Fly attempt against Marty Scurll a couple months ago. He has tape all over the back of his neck and shoulders. This dude has got to get his neck looked at. He could possibly have spinal stenosis later in his life, and he's going to have his career probably cut short due to this injury. These two were off to a hot start. Takahashi tosses Ospreay into the turnbuckle. Takahashi goes for a sunset bomb, but Ospreay blocks that and takes Takahashi to the ramp. Ospreay runs up the top of the ramp, comes running back, and does a running flip dive onto Takahashi. Ospreay pulls back the padding on the ring, going for a Stormbreaker, but just tosses Takahashi back into the ring. Takahashi ends up chops to Ospreay, but Ospreay tosses him into the corner and does a coast-to-coast dropkick in the corner. He gets a 2 count from that, uppercut by Ospreay, then another dropkick, dropping Takahashi. Ospreay wraps Takahashi's arm up and just falls back into a 2 count pin. Outside, and Ospreay sends Takahashi to the barricade. Which, if anyone hasn't watched a New Japan match before, they don't have a barricade that you would see in WWE. They have a barricade, and then they have some space, and then another barricade for the crowd. So there's a space in between the ring and the crowd, and so the wrestlers can actually work. And if they ended up getting thrown over the barricade, they don't have to worry about putting plants there. So if they miss where the plants are at, and they actually hit real fans, they don't get in trouble, so they have that space there. That's what I think. It could be a totally different reason. Maybe it probably is safety. Ospreay pulls Takahashi into the corner. Ospreay with an arm breaker over his shoulder. He traps Takahashi's arm in the ropes and kicks it. And Ospreay with a rest hold submission, then a headlock, but Takahashi fights out. Running Hurricanrana by Takahashi, clothesline in the corner, then drop kick on the mat. Ospreay leaves the ring, and Takahashi with a drop kick off the apron. Takahashi hits a missile drop kick off the top rope for a 2 count. Pop-up powerbomb by Takahashi for a 2. Definitely playing up that injury that Ospreay had. The neck injury does play a big factor into this match and why I think the match ended the way it did. And honestly, I still think Will Ospreay does need to probably get his neck checked before this match and after this match. Chops by Takahashi. Ospreay literally says, "Fuck you," when he chops him, and then he gets hit with another chop. Ospreay with a 619 off the top rope. He actually doesn't go from top to bottom, like in between the top and middle rope. He actually does it from the top rope only. Ospreay's neck is a bother for him, doing it for sure. Kicks to Will's face, and Takahashi wraps his legs around Will's neck and hangs over the ropes. Got himself a nice little submission, bit of time there. I don't know if it's a 5 count or a 10 count for them when it comes to DQ or Japan. I do know count outs are to 20. I'd have to see that actually end that way. Ospreay hits a neck driver for a 2 count. Ospreay with his cartwheel flip before that, which is always a beautiful thing. I don't know how he can continue to do that, but it is an awesome looking move. Oscar blocked into a German suplex. Ospreay's neck is really bothering him. Men start to trade blows. Super kick by Takahashi, then combo reversals by both. Then some German suplexes, then more reversals, then a reverse Hurricanrana. Stormbreaker reversed into a code red. Both men are down. Both men on the apron, then they start trading blows again. Ospreay ends up back in the ring, hits a reach around kick to Takahashi, and hits a suplex, and drapes him on the top rope. Shooting star press, he goes back on up top. I always love that thing when he always has someone draped on the top rope, hanging one side and the other, and then he goes up for a shooting star press. It's always a beautiful spot by Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay's shooting star press, I will say, is one of the most beautiful shooting star presses in the game. Back to the top rope and hits the corkscrew for a 2 count. Ospreay back up looking for a Stormbreaker, but Takahashi wriggles free and hits a destroyer, then gets him in a triangle. Ospreay lifts him up, powerbombs him, but he didn't get him up high enough to actually make the powerbomb effective. But Takahashi won't let go. Ospreay goes up again and drives Takahashi right on his neck. That was a nasty looking spot. Instead of going for a powerbomb, he tilts sideways and lands him and just drops him right on his neck. Ospreay looking intense right now. Hits his special, a couple of his specials, then goes for an Oz cutter. Takahashi sends it into the apron, and then hits a sunset bomb. I think he was supposed to hit the exposed mat part. I believe this is where this is at. He was supposed to hit the exposed, but they actually didn't hit the exposed, which probably would have been even worse. Thanks me. I was like watching this, and I'm like, don't go for that spot, please, because we just saw that at TakeOver New Orleans where we had a powerbomb onto some concrete, and you just heard that thud. He kind of missed it there. I think he was supposed to hit the concrete, but they missed, and it would have looked even worse. Ospreay looking, Takahashi hits the time bomb for a 2 count. At least that's what I'm pretty sure they said. Time bomb chance block. Another time bomb chance block kick to Takahashi. Reach around kick, then a kick to Takahashi's head. Ospreay goes for the Storm Chaser. Takahashi gets a triangle on Ospreay again, and Ospreay gets out, and he is hit with the butterfly powerbomb. Then he jams him in the corner. Time bomb for the 3 count, and your new IWG Junior Heavyweight Champion is Hiromu Takahashi. Beautiful match. These two put on a hell of a show. These 3 matches that I'm going over, you want to watch. I think it was some guy on YouTube was actually putting these things out like every single match. I did not watch the IWGP heavyweight tag team title match between Evil and I believe it was Evil and Sonata versus the Young Bucks. As you know, the Young Bucks won. They'll have their present known in the main event later on. But this match right here was definitely worth seeing. Will Ospreay always puts on a Matt Classic. I am gonna start worrying about this dude because he does so much high flying shit, and he has been injury. He gets injury after injury after injury. This dude is going to have he's going to be a great in wrestling, but he's not going to have a long career that he could have because of how he wrestles. So it's going to be interesting, and because he lost the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, I think this was New Japan's way of taking off from him to hopefully have him go get his neck checked out. If he has to have some kind of surgery, he can be out for a while, and they don't have to worry about him being champion. So hopefully he'll go get his neck checked by good doctors and can not miss too much time. Let's talk about Jericho versus Naito. This was a brutal match. Jericho came out with the black lipstick, and I watched his part 1 with Kenny McIntosh from Beyond Between the Ropes or whatever it's called, and he said the reason when he pulled the mask off when he attacked Naito, when he had black lips and a little bit of eyeliner, is because he was trying to have himself be masked as Bushi, and I guess Bushi's lips are actually black. He wears black lipstick on his lips to mask him or everything, and he put eyeliner stuff on his eyes to try and mask himself even more, so people, if they were looking close, wouldn't have been, that's Chris Jericho. So he's like, I kind of like this thing. So he's like, I'm just gonna wear the black lipstick. He also had some black streaks down the middle of his eyes, making him look like a fucking psychopath. This match was brutal from the start. Jericho attacks Naito, making his way to the ring, has his suit, his beautiful, his great suit, his nice looking suit on. Jericho attacks him before the bell, attacks him on the outside. They brawl outside, and Jericho suplexes Naito down, and he drops a camera on Naito, then throws down Red Shoes Man, he don't like Red Shoes. He did this at Wrestle Kingdom 12 where he bullied Red Shoes as well. Jericho grabs one of the Japanese tables, which if you haven't seen a Japanese table, it's half the size of what you see in WWE, and sets it up, but Naito fights until Jericho powerbombs Naito through the table. Jericho grabs another camera and just sits there, and it was one of the actual cameras that you've seen. He just grabs it and taunts him a little bit. Jericho gets him on another table and DDTs him, but the table does not break. Jericho grabs some paper that's right beside him and just signs it. It's like, here you go, here's my autograph, bitch. Jericho tosses Naito into the ring and tells Red Shoes to ring the fucking bell. He's like, ring the fucking bell. Gets a 1 count, then Jericho starts to beat down Naito some more, and he unbuttons Naito's vest just to make it easier for him to beat on Naito some more. Backbreaker by Jericho, then a lion salt takes his time and then pins him for a 2 count. Naito chants from the crowd. The crowd, I couldn't understand half the thing the Japanese people were saying because it is what it is. They are Japanese. I don't speak Japanese, but you can clearly hear them chanting for Naito. Naito is getting destroyed by Jericho. Knife edge chops by Jericho. Naito has no offense so far. Naito was like, this match was brutal. This match was all like mostly Jericho. Jericho beat the shit out of Naito. Naito took a beating. Naito fights back, but Jericho stops that and tosses Naito hard into the corner. Naito fights back again, but Jericho puts the walls on Naito, but Naito gets into the ropes. This is not an ODQ match, so everything that happened at the start of this entire thing was before the match. Jericho stops Naito in the face and just stomps away to get in Red Shoes, then gets in Red Shoes' face. Naito spits in Jericho's face. Naito spears and fists and starts beating the hell out of it, starts to pound on Jericho's face. Neck breaker to then kick to the back of the head of Jericho. Naito with some kicks in the corner, then a drop kick as well. Naito neck breaker on the apron. Naito with a neck breaker to the floor. Naito finally gets his entrance gear off and chokes Jericho with his pants. Naito throws Jericho into the barricade twice. Naito grabs a piece of broken table. He's like, you know what, motherfucker? You broke this on me, but I'm going to use it. This would have, of course, been a DQ in any other place. But Red Shoes, of course, letting them like, oh, no, it's fine. And he whacks Jericho in the head, then grabs a piece again, lifts Jericho up, and whacks him again. That had to hurt. And then they fight into the crowd, and Naito power drives Jericho onto a table. Back in the ring, and Naito drop kicks Jericho off the top rope. Jericho tries to get back in, and he reversed a Hurricane Rana into the walls of Jericho, which was a beautiful thing. It was off the top rope. Like he had Jericho on the top turnbuckle, goes to do a Hurricane Rana, and Jericho just drops him down. Naito's head might have hit the mat, and then of course he puts it into the walls of Jericho. Naito tries to get to the ropes, and Jericho drags him back, but Naito turns around and gets catapulted into the ring corner and hits a Hurricane Rana, then a swinging DDT for a 2 count. Jericho goes to the walls again, and Naito is in the walls for a 3rd time. Naito crawls to the ropes, but can't make it, and looks to be out, but finally he gets into the ropes. Jericho thinks he's won the match. He even tells the referee he tapped out. But no, Naito drops him to the top rope. Jericho drops him for a 2. Naito fighting and clubbing Jericho. Naito knows Jericho for a 2 count. Jericho grabs the bottom rope, which Naito is bleeding at the cheek. I guess it was the ear actually. After that 2 count, and he got up from the bottom rope. I don't know where it was at, but you just see they pan to Naito's face, and you just see blood in this line across his cheek. So it looks like it's his cheek, and then Don Callis is like, no, it's his ear. They trade blows again as they get on their feet. Naito slaps Jericho, and then Jericho with the codebreaker off the rope for a 2 count. Again, they trade blows. Back elbow by Jericho. Wallace blocks. Step up insecurity. Then Naito drops Jericho. He goes for this finisher. Jericho pushes the ref. Back low blow to Naito. Hits the codebreaker for the 1, 2, 3. Your winner and new IWGP Intercontinental Champion, Chris Jericho. This one is a shocker to me. Honestly, this one is a shocker to me. I did not expect him to actually come in here and win the title. I figured it was going to be Jericho's just going to do what he did with Kenny Omega, and he's going to give the rub to Naito. But no, he comes in, he destroys Naito. Naito almost had no offense in this match. It was a nasty, brutal match, and I can't tell you, that was one of the most brutal matches I think I've seen. And Jericho just beat the holy hell out of him. It looked like Naito had no chance. Looked like Naito had no shot to win this match. And Jericho is your new Intercontinental Champion. What does this mean for him? We probably won't see him in WWE for a long, long time. Well, how long will he hold the Intercontinental title? I don't know. I don't think it's going to be all the way to Wrestle Kingdom 12. I don't know what comes up after the G1 Climax. I don't think you're going to see Jericho at the G1. So who knows how long he's going to keep the Intercontinental title, but the next time he probably will hold it and defend it one time and then lose it probably back to Naito. Because I don't think the feud's over with. It's just because post-match he continues to he winning the title wasn't good enough for Jericho. He comes back over to and just keeps beating him down until Evil comes out and sends him away. So Jericho is the new Intercontinental Champion. That makes him a 10-time East ICW champion. Oh, IC champion, not ICW. IC champion. He did it 9 times in WWE, and then he comes here in New Japan and wins his 10th Intercontinental Champion. That's a big thing. Of course, WWE, if he ever returns there, probably won't recognize it, but he is a 10-time Intercontinental Champion. That is crazy. Was it a shocker? Very much so. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Chris Jericho. Then comes, by far, the match of the year. This match was fucking amazing. Over an hour. 2 out of 3 falls. This match you have to see. We're going to go fall by fall. This thing was amazing. If you want to see any single match of this year, 2 out of the 3 matches this year for me, this is number 1. Gargano Ciampa's number 2. Gargano Almas is number 3. Those are your 3 matches this year. This is Dave Meltzer's probably going to give this thing like a 6.5 star. These 2 gave you every single thing they could have. Everything. That's how good this match was. And the fact that it was a 2 out of 3 falls, and we've seen 2 out of 3 fall matches. The last one I believe we saw was at the Royal Rumble, where the Usos beat Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. 2 straight falls, and what looked like a botch ending to fall number 2. This match, you figure 2 out of 3 falls can go. First fall is immediate, second fall takes a while, third fall is like right after that. No. These 2 wrestled each fall about 25-30 minutes each, it felt like. This match was great. They're in the mound, the match is underway. These 2 just start, they're going around the ring, sizing each other up. This is their 4th match. If anyone does remember, Wrestle Kingdom 11, it was Kenny Omega taking the fall. He lost. They drew, I believe, Dominion last year. It was Dominion where they took a draw. And then the G1 Climax, Kenny Omega won after, I believe, Minoru Suzuki beat the shit out of Kazuchika Okada the day before. So this is their 4th chance, and they are still they're 1-1-1 each. So this was the end of the feud. This is the end of their classics. They take their title lock out, combination of locks and reversals. Kenny chants from the crowd. I think there was a start of Okada chants, I think, from some crowd, but from some people in the crowd, but the rest of the crowd started chanting Kenny, Kenny, Kenny. This guy had to win this match tonight, plain and simple. Okada with a headlock on Omega. Omega gets out and has Okada's arm in a vice, gets it and rolls him up for a 2 count. Okada chants, then Kenny chants. Okada with an arm lock, but Omega gets out and takes down Okada. Then a headlock on him. Okada trips Omega, then elbow to the leg. Into a heel hook, Omega gets to the ropes. They lock up and Okada gets Omega in the corner. Looks to strike Omega. Omega flinches, and he just pats him on the shoulder. Playing some mind games. Omega then grabs Okada, puts him in the ring, into the corner. He does the same thing. He looks like he's going to strike him, and then just takes both of his hands and just pats him on the chest. I was like, that has good stuff. Omega misses the V-trigger in the corner, then flips over Okada. Each tries some finishers, and a one-wing angel block sends both men to the outside, crashing hard. And it was a nasty-looking draw. They come to blows on the outside. Ibushi is out there watching from a distance. And Don Callis did mention that, a little bit later, that Kota Ibushi was out there, but he also had a white towel. So, and he's like, get rid of that thing, because if Ibushi just tosses that in, Omega loses. Omega sent to the barricade and sent over the railing. V-trigger to Okada. This was a V-trigger party. We have Super Kick Party is the Young Bucks things. This was a V-trigger party because there were so many V-triggers through all three falls. And yes, all three falls did happen. This wasn't a two straight fall for anybody. As he comes barreling over the barricade, Omega grabs the barricade between the fans in the mid area and just drops Okada onto the barricade piece for a 2 count. He throws him back in and gets a 2 count. Elbows to the chest to Okada for another 2. Omega with an elbow working on the spot. He hit the V trigger when he was jumping over. He hits Omega had Okada had Omega over the barricade. He went to barrel over and he got hit with the V trigger in the chest instead of in the face, and that was in target for Kenny Omega for a good portion of this first fall. So the V trigger, then a kick to the shoulder blades, then another because Kazuchika Okada is just give me more, I want more, give me more. Then a drop kick to the back of Okada's head for a 2 count. Chops in the corner for Omega to Okada, running back breaker for a 2 count. Omega with a submission hold on Okada, full camel clutch, then he had him in a half camel clutch. And then he puts him in the full one. Okada makes it to the bottom rope, but Omega with some kicks to Okada's back as he is on the mat. Okada back up and he gets some shots in on Omega, but Omega with some of the loudest chops I have ever heard. I thought Roderick Strong had some hard chops. These things sounded like they were cutting through Okada's skin. It was that loud. It was awful. Just think of when Big Show chopped somebody with those big hands and how loud it could sound. This was 10 times worse. Flapjack by Okada to Omega to stop Omega. Elbows by Okada, then a running elbow takes down Omega. Elbow in the corner, then a DDT by Okada for a 2 count. Okada puts the Cobra Clutch in, looking for a submission. Kevin Kelly did say that 1 year ago at Dominion, the Cobra Clutch was not in Okada's repertoire, so it's more of a recent new move for him, which wrestlers adding new moves to their wrestling repertoire is not a bad thing. Okada puts in the corner looking for a submission, but Omega cleanses Okada out of the ring, and Okada gets in, and Omega leaps to the outside, and Okada leaps over and nails Omega on the outside. Okada from the top rope misses and punts Omega in the chin, looking but a jumping Hurricane Rana. Drop kick to the back, and Okada who falls over the rails. Omega leaps off the top rope and lands on Okada on the other side of the barricade. Omega back up first, tosses Okada over the barricade. Omega tosses Okada back into the ring, takes a breather, then goes in and hits a crusher for a 2 count. If I name some moves wrong, hey, that's not the name of that move, I apologize. Just how I go with what the commentaries say, and I try and get those names down too. If not, I just throw something in there. Omega hits a neck breaker off the top, off the knee, misses the V trigger, then one's blocked, but not the second one. Okada holds on to a snap Rana, German suplex bridge for a 2 count. Rainmaker counted and sent into the corner. Omega set him on the turnbuckle and chops him in the corner, going for a suplex off the top turnbuckle, but Okada fights off Omega's forearm to Okada. Omega puts him on the top rope again, looking for a dragon suplex off the top rope, but Okada fights Omega off. Okada tombstones Omega on the apron. That right there, the Tombstone Power Driver is one of those things that just makes you want to cringe, and he did this thing on the... This wasn't even the worst tombstone, he did one later, what we'll get to. But he did it on the apron. My gosh, that's gotta hurt. Let me see here, we're at... Oh yeah, Omega back on the apron, baiting Okada, who just drop kicks Omega off the apron into the barricade. That looked like one of the stiffest drop kicks I've seen. He was like, come on, come get me, and then Okada's like, okay, bitch, and hits him with the drop kick. He just flies. Kenny fighting to get up, and Okada is coming for the attack. Ibushi has a white towel, as I mentioned. Okada goes up for and hits a perfect drop kick for a 2 count. You hear Omega's pain after that. He's just writhing in pain. You can just hear the pain from this abuse that he's been getting. Scoop slam by Okada, who goes back to the top for an elbow drop. Hits it. Rainmaker taunt by Okada, but Omega does something. They cut this one. I don't know exactly what he did because Okada does some kind of taunt, and then they cut the camera away for whatever reason, and then next thing you know, Omega does something to him that was totally missed, which sent Okada to the outside. Omega with his running dive over the top rope, best in the business, obviously. I mean, you see the one that Sami Zayn does, but Kenny Omega just does it so much better. Omega goes up now and hits his own dropkick to the back of Okada's head and gets a 2 count for this. Snapdragon block, going for the one-winged angel, but blocked. V-trigger, the one-winged angel, are then blocked, but a deadlift German for a 2 count. V-trigger by Omega. If you're watching this match and you want to take a shot for every V-trigger, I guarantee you by the end of this match you are going to be blistered off your ass. And then a drop kick off the top rope by Okada, who does his little scream, looks for the Rainmaker, misses another one, a V-trigger for a 2 count. Omega goes but Omega Hurricane Runners by Okada, then a Tombstone, Rainmaker misses, and Okada rolls up Omega for the 1, 2, 3. The first fall goes to Kazuchika Okada. Don Callis is like, what the hell just happened? Because Omega tried to do something, a Tombstone himself, he gets rolled up in a cradle and couldn't get out. So he's like, what the hell just happened? What the hell happened here? I've never seen a 2 out of 3 falls match in New Japan before, so I did not expect to see a 2-minute time period in between, which is fine. Let's see these guys get rested up. And especially with this match, it helped bring the crowd back down a little bit to allow them to just soak it in and be like, wow, that was great. Let's see what they have next. Because this was, like, I'd say out of the 3 falls, this was probably the weaker one because it was just building up momentum for the end of this match. So it's going to be a weak one. The first one is a good one to be weak. When we start the bell rings for the second one, Omega goes aggressively, but Okada sets him on the top rope and drop kicks him to the outside. Okada comes out and uses the ring barrier to deal damage to Omega. Okada is in control. Omega is sent into the barricade again, kick to the gut of Okada. Omega looks to do something. He gets shoved over the barricade into the crowd barricade. Hanging DDT, like the Randy Orton DDT you would see between the top and middle rope. Okada does on the barricade on the outside. Omega makes it back inside and tries to strike Okada, but no power behind him. There was many times in this match from this point on where you'll see these guys try to trade blows and like they're hitting, but nothing. Like there's nothing. There's no power behind it. These guys, I'm surprised these guys did not pass out from exhaustion with how much they put into this match. Behind strikes, Okada absorbing as much as he can, and then hits a charging Omega with a big boot. Cobra back on Omega, stunning by Omega, who chops Okada again. Back suplex by Omega. Omega drops Okada with a back suplex on the apron. Omega grabs the table and just drops it on Okada, then does a double foot stomp onto the table on top of Okada, which I gotta tell you probably is not a good feeling at all. You have this wooden piece of table, and these things don't look as light as a WWE table. He's just going to sit there and drop kick it on, like double stomp with you underneath of it. Omega looks to use the table, but Okada tosses Omega back into the ring. The table was actually broken. He set the table up, and the one side of the legs actually were disconnected from the table. So, yeah, I don't think that would have been a smart idea to try to put somebody through that thing. Scoop slam by Okada, but the senton is blocked with the knees by Omega. Omega tries a fireman's carry move, but Okada blocks, then hits a fireman's carry suplex move himself. Drop kicks in the corner. Okada looks to go up the top again, but the ribs are hurting like him. Omega back up, and he strikes Okada, then a chop. Omega goes for the superplex and nails it. Elbow strikes by Omega, rolls through, then a moonsault blocked by the knees, then a uppercut by Okada. Okada looks at the table on the outside, looks to backdrop Omega. He throws Omega into the ropes on the other side, tries to pick him up to backdrop him, but Omega bounces off of him. And then Omega hits a DDT. Both men on the apron, Omega looking for the German through the table, but Okada blocks again and again and again. Clubbing blows to Okada's back, looking for the Dragon Suplex now. Red Shoes or the referee's in the ring, like, don't do this. He's like waving his hands like, don't do this. This is going to be suicide. Don Callis is like, if Kenny Omega hits this is the end of Okada. Which, where the table was set up, because they don't use the barricades you see in WWE. They use the classic steel barricades. They're not black or anything, they're blue. So this thing probably would have hurt even more with how it went. Omega rolls back in looking for a reverse front run on the floor by Omega. Omega rolls back in looking for a countout. Okada comes close. Like I said, their countout is to 20, and they edged it so close to 19. Even Okada tries to get up one time, like it's like 16, and he gets his leg on the apron and falls off again. And Don Callis is like, oh no. Or Kevin Kelly's like, oh no. Thinking, oh, we're just going to be tied 1-1 with countout. Omega rolls back, and Okada makes it back in. It's a V-trigger, goes for the one-winged angel, but Okada hits a jumping tombstone. Goes for the Rainmaker, but it's spiked Uranagi. Both men are up, and they slowly trade blows. Both men look exhausted. Dragon suplex by Okada with a dropkick, then a dropkick by Omega. Powerbomb for a 1, V-trigger, then Okada blocks Omega for a 2, then a V-trigger and a spike power driver for another 2 count. That spike power driver, oh my god. He looked like he went for a tombstone, then he takes Okada's legs, put him around his waist side, and just like has this guy rolled up and hits a spike power driver. That right there, the only thing that pisses me off about him kicking out of that is that move should put anybody down. You have this guy wrapped up in a like pretty much in a ball around your midsection, and you just drop him on his neck. That guy should be dead. Plain and simple, that guy should be dead. V-trigger by Omega going for the one-winged angel and he hits it for the 3 count. Apparently nobody has kicked out of the one-winged angel. 1, 2, 3, and we have ourselves a 1-1 tie. We will have either a new champion or a continued champion, or a champion, which, the way Kevin Kelly said it, I think he needs to rephrase his words. The winner of this next fall will be the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, either Kenny Omega or for a 13th time, Kazuchika Okada. What he should have said was we would have a new champion, or for the 13th time, Kazuchika Okada would have defended his championship. Just the way he worded that didn't sound right at all. Just a nitpick for me. As soon, like, that one-ring angel put Kazuchika Okada out for this entire 2-minute break, because they still have these 2-minute breaks, saying, I don't know who was with Okada, but he's like sitting there trying to get this guy up, doing smelling salts, everything, and Okada is just laying there dead. We get close to the end of the 2-minute mark, and finally he starts moving a little bit. As soon as that bell rings again, we have a V-trigger to the back of Okada's head. One wing angel was blocked into a Rainmaker, but Okada gets Omega's boot as the Rainmaker hits him in the back of the head. Like, he hit the Rainmaker, and with a follow-through, and Omega flipped, and his boot actually hit the back of Okada's head. So usually it's Rainmaker 1, 2, 3, but no, he couldn't actually get up and get the count. So he only gets a 2 for it. Okada looks for a tombstone, but Omega blocks that. Omega goes for his own tombstone, but both men are stalling. Okada tries again. Omega tries a chop, but misses. Then both men are trading more shots, exhausted as they are. Uppercut by Okada. Kenny off the rope, but he just falls as Okada goes for the drop kick, which Omega goes for a power driver. Okada stops that, and Omega with some palm strikes. Powerbomb attempt was stopped. Kenny Omega actually hit the Styles Clash. I popped for that one. Like, as soon as that happened, he gets a 2 count. But as soon as that happened, you get an AJ Styles chant in the crowd. You can literally hear AJ Styles. New Japan misses AJ Styles by none. AJ Styles was loved there, you can already tell. Anytime the move of his gets used by Kenny Omega or somebody else, which is usually Kenny Omega, these guys, you'll hear AJ Styles chant in the crowd. That's how much New Japan loved AJ Styles. It's a bummer for them, but it's always great for us because we get AJ Styles in WWE. But I could see it's just one of those things that you hear AJ Styles and it pops. Omega hits the V-trigger in the corner, tries a one-wing angel, but Omega collapses and goes for it. He collapses and falls into the corner. These guys, you can just tell exhaustion is kicking in big time. And goes for it again. Tombstone by Omega for a 2 count. Omega goes for up top for a Phoenix Splash, but misses Okada, drop kicks Omega, and he just slowly falls to the mat. Like, usually when you get hit with a drop kick, you're falling backwards. He hit him with a drop kick, and Omega just, slowly just falls over. It was bad. Tombstone block, V-triggered by Omega. Omega with another V-trigger, then another V-trigger, goes for one more, and Okada catches him and drop kicks him again, goes for the tombstone, but Omega blocks another drop kick, but Okada goes for the Rainmaker, and Okada collapses. Okada actually did the whole motion through the Rainmaker. When his arm hit Kenny Omega, Okada collapsed. He couldn't even get the Rainmaker off. That's how exhausted he was at that time. He actually went for the Rainmaker and couldn't do it. Both men are down. Red Shoes is counting to 20. Both men get up and start trading weak strikes due to the exhaustion. Slaps by Okada and by Omega, and Okada. Headbutt by Omega. Rainmaker by Okada, but he can't pin Omega right away. Okada still has a hold of the Omega. He has the arm. I thought, oh, he's not going to be able to pin him because of his exhaustion, but he actually still had Omega's arm because he's like, you know what? I'm going to hit him with another Rainmaker as soon as I get my breath back. But Okada collapses for a few seconds. Again, he is trying to get over to Omega, looks for another Rainmaker, but Omega with a German suplex out of the arm lock. Another German by Omega. Omega looks for a third one, but Okada hits his own, looks for a German suplex pin, but couldn't keep Omega's shoulders down due to his exhaustion. He hit the German and just fell off to the side. Wrist control by Okada looking for the Rainmaker. Omega ducks again. Snap German. Okada blocks it, but a reverse rounder by Omega. Omega uses Red Shoes to get up, looks for the V-trigger, but Okada with the dropkick out of nowhere. Okada looks for the V-trigger. Okada looks for the V-trigger again, but Omega gets the one-wing angel off out of nowhere. Omega with the V-trigger on the ropes again, goes for the one-wing angel. He nails it in 1, 2, 3. Your winner and the new IWGP Heavyweight Champion, Kenny Omega. What a match. I probably had a couple things out of order there, but hey, this was a good match. If you can find Kenny Omega, if you have access, I'm guaranteed that thing's going to be on Access, probably in 2 parts because it is a long match. It's going to be on Access probably later this month or next month. And I know people are not a big fan of JR and Josh, what's his name, doing the commentary, but this was a great match. This was great. I loved it. I enjoyed it. Match of the year, most likely, overall. This was match of the night for sure. All 3 matches, I believe every title changed hands. Michael Elgin won the Never Overweight Championship. The Young Bucks won the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles. Takahasi won the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. Chris Jericho won the Intercontinental title. And, of course, Kenny Omega won this one. After the match, Kenny Omega is in the ring. So is Kota Ibushi. Matt and Nick Jackson are on the apron. They come in. All 3 men embrace. Kota Ibushi comes over too, and they all 4 embrace. And this, just what this guy has meant to all 3 of these guys. Kenny Omega made this a great, his journey that he's been on. He tried at Wrestle Kingdom 12, he lost. He tried again at Dominion, they drew. He beat him in the G1 Climax, but it wasn't for the title. And then a year later, it took him to win that title. How long can Kenny Omega hold the title? I'm saying until about Wrestle Kingdom, most likely. Most likely Wrestle Kingdom. Will it be against Kazuchika Okada? I don't know. I highly doubt that. I'm sure they'll have Tetsuya Naito or somebody else. Maybe somebody who hasn't even there yet. Who knows? But I don't think that Kenny Omega is going to lose the title anytime soon. I'm pretty sure he's going to hold that title to at least Wrestle Kingdom 13. And whoever he puts on, he gets put on in the main event. Which, by the way, Vince, the main event, the world title should always be the main event. It was the main event tonight. It was the main event at Wrestle Kingdom. Nobody is bigger than the world title. New Japan knows how to put it together. This was a great match. If we could see a fraction of what Tetsuya Naito, Chris Jericho, or Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada did for everyone else, we would be seeing a lot in WWE. We would see a lot better product. I would have to say that the 205 Live brand is doing close to, if not as on par with the junior heavyweight division. I'm just saying. So this was a great show. I did not watch it all because it is a lot, and it's just one of those things that the timing. I did love these matches. Hope you guys enjoy this little bit of a review. It is another mini review. We did a mini review for Wrestle Kingdom 12. I like doing these mini reviews. Let me know if you want me to mini review certain matches from, if you want me to review certain matches from Ring of Honor, if I can get a hold of them, or New Japan's G1 Climax, or anything else. Let me know. I'll try and get a hold of whatever I can and do a review for you guys. Let me know in the comment section below. But my name is DeFrance. Find me on Twitter at DeFrance. Find me on twitch.tv/DeFrance08, where I'll be covering E3 for today, tomorrow, and Tuesday, all the way up until the Nintendo Direct or whatever they're doing, and I will be there every single day after that. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like this video, and hit that bell for all notifications. Until then, I will see you guys later.